Welcome to the studios of Radio Gold.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you're well.
I'm very good.
How's the year started?
Well, just like we ended it.
And how was that? So just like we ended it.
We are all in Ghana, so just like we ended it, we've started it. It will take time to get things softened down.
I see. And I'll come back to the early days of the government, but we're just having a conversation on the matter of the Electricity Company of Ghana. And I was having a conversation with Senna from SAS, who just kept repeating, and whenever he talks about debt, he kept referring to the energy sector debt. Keeps going back to that. Within that framework of dealing with the energy sector, how big a problem is ECG?
Well, let me first greet your viewers and listeners and the whole team here. Well, the issue about ECG and how big the problem is basically more of about an issue of power, political power, and not ECG.
It's about political power.
And not ECG.
How? Because ECG is run, I don't know, it's a state institution.
It's more like a limited liability company. Yes, but the influence of political power is too much in there. The professionals are not made to work, and decisions are taken externally for them. I mean, I was listening to Nanaya, and I mean, every point she made, very accurate. But the issue is, what is the underlying challenge? The underlying challenge is someone outside ECG decided what meters they should go and buy, or who they should buy from, right? And so until you kind of move ECG away from the hands of government or political power, we will continuously have these issues coming up every now and then. The issue here is also the risk and the strategic nature of ECG. That when you put it in the hands of a private sector, and a sector that is so much regulated, you are going to have issues, and it is also not good for political power that they will not have so much influence on that. So yes, we must be real to ourselves. We must understand the challenges, and we must understand the burden ECG put on the economy of Ghana. And we must do something about it. Again, the aspect of privatizing aspects of their operation. I mean, what is the size in terms of value of ECG? Is nothing. Yes, we have huge staffing. We have you could remember before Ghana Telecom became Vodafone. They had all sort of challenges. It went away. We don't hear of staff going on strikes. We don't hear about performance issues. We don't hear about all those things. Yes, but you cannot compare Ghana Telecom to ECG and say that go on privatization and as in giving it out and your hands are not in there at all. You must have your skin in there. Government must still have a skin in there.
If it's too strategic an asset to give away.
Exactly. And so I will go for what was done with SIC.
Okay. What happened with SIC? What is there to learn from them?
It was sold to the public.
Okay.
So SIC is privatized. They used to have similar issues and all that. It has been privatized. Government still holds some shares in there.
Okay.
And then it is about an AGM deciding who runs SIC.
Okay.
And not really about government having so much influence. So the influence of government or power can be repelled.
Okay.
It's a bit lessened.
Okay.
And that is when we can all get a better service from them. I mean, not better service in terms of what we receive alone, but how they even serve themselves and serve the company.
Okay.
It's a challenge in there. That is the way forward. There is no way out, basically. Yeah.
So for you, the very first step is, okay, you have the power.
Yeah.
Act differently.
Exactly.
So put somebody in there, put a board in there, allow them to do their job. Don't come and tell them, I have this company, give them the contract to buy meters. I have this company, let them buy cables. All that should be avoided.
Yeah.
For you, that's the very first step.
That's the very first step.
Okay.
You know, you need to put a team there that can clean up the place.
Okay.
Because if you want to go on you want to send it onto the stock exchange and get people to buy into, you need to sell something a bit of value.
Okay.
Debt reading an institution cannot get a good value on the market. People may not even buy the shares. People may dump in the shares. It is a viable project.
Okay.
And therefore, we can turn it around in the shortest possible time and put it up for sale and let Ghanaians, individual Ghanaians, buy into it. What we would have done if the values are right, what we would have done at the end of the day is for government to also make enough money from the IPO, right, and reduce the burden that ECG brought based on the legacy debts that we have, and all these bonds that has been issued to support the energy sector. We could significantly reduce that as well. So that is an option we should look at critically. Yeah.
Well, but then there's the bigger matter of the energy sector debt. In fact, I'm sure you listened to President Akufo-Addo when he said, I inherited $2.5 million. I left $2.5 million. So I've done well. Clap for me. I haven't increased it. This at the same level. It's been pointed out to him that you did not only inherit a debt, you inherited what was supposed to be used, or monies or inflows from ESLA that was supposed to service that debt. So if you still have that debt, then we should be concerned about what you did with the monies from ESLA. But what do you make of the matter of the energy sector debt, and how do we tackle it properly?
Well, yet again, I don't know where sometimes how they kind of understand figures. If you came in and met $2.5 million, what was the value in cedis then? And when you were leaving, what is the value in cedis today?
Okay.
So you did not leave the same amount.
Okay. So $2.5 million at the time you took over, it's not $2.5 million.
It's not the same in value. In any case, in the sector, we generate not dollars, we generate cedis in terms of revenue. So today, we would have to go and look for a difference of about 12 cedis, right?
Yes.
To pay back if we are supposed to pay the entire, as in when you inherited it at a dollar rate of 4.5.
Okay.
So first and foremost, it is not the same at all. A dollar today is not the same as a dollar tomorrow. It is not. So that is a wrong analysis from the former president. I would say it is an illiterate kind of argument he made. Then the issue about the energy sector debt, it won't go away. It won't go away because of our inefficiencies.
Okay.
Our inefficiencies spans from management through operation, distribution, equipment, almost every aspect of the system.
Okay.
Fuel and all that. Yes. And again, Nanaya did mention one significant issue. The denominating currency in that industry is the USD.
Okay.
We are buying fuel in USD. We are buying equipment in USD.
Okay.
Most times repairs are majorly done in USD and all that. And so
your inputs and maintenance,
your inputs and maintenance and everything largely depends on the USD.
Okay.
The issue is, do you generate revenue in USD? No, in cedis. So it is either you are waiting for the money, quickly change them into dollars, which is mostly not available in the volumes or quantities you may need them. And then you would have exchange losses hitting you so hard and virtually taking away everything that is supposed to go for profit will be taken off. So we quickly turn around debt and keep, piling more on and on and on. And so it's not going away until we face the facts and say that we are running the revenue side based on the dollar to protect them, which it's not possible. It's not possible to do. So we must come back to the efficiency.
Okay.
And that is why a lot of time the solution from the IMF has been privatize. Take your hands off it. So therefore it is not your debt. But the moment you take your hands off it and it is somebody else's debt, that person will operate in such a manner that he will not take on such debt. And that will mean that government, you would have to pay me or you will not get my service.
Okay.
So you may have power or you may have the available capacity, but you will not have enough in terms of the supply to actually run your economy. And that is also the issue. Okay. So it is a bit of a tightrope we kind of walk in it. The IMF would always come at us, and we don't have any real counter offer on the table because already we are deep in debt and we need them to survive. So we will do yes amasa for the meantime. But we have to be strategic. We can also put this in the hands of just anybody, like we did for PDS. Taking care of the debt in a way would help before trying to push it away for privatization, whichever way they choose to do it, or the authorities choose to handle privatization of ECG. But I also am of the view that at the point, we have come to that point where ECG must go off our books.
Go off our books?
Yeah.
And your preference is an IPO?
An IPO. Yes, give it to the public.
I see. Well, first let me say happy birthday to Prince Haj Musa. Prince Haj Musa, today's your birthday. Happy birthday to you, coming from Bright. Prince Haj Musa is from Bright to you. But and back to you, because And you just mentioned the IMF. World Bank has been here. The IMF was even here. Like already, they've had 2 separate meetings with the president. The most recent one was yesterday when the meeting was held. They had the vice president, the finance minister nominee, many other, including the former finance minister, Honorable Setekbe, among others, many people in that meeting. And these discussions around, I'm sure, around the program that we currently have and how to make it much more efficient. What do you think these institutions are trying to do? Coming in the early days of this government, is it just the usual politics that they always do? World Bank, IMF, coming in this early to meet the new government. What point are they trying to make?
Well, it has become a norm, and so you cannot fault it that much. But also, they have an interest. They are doing business with us, right? If I am a bank, then I have my money with a company, and that company change management. Quickly, I have to go and establish my authority in there and say that, look, you are welcome, but you know you owe me some monies. And I have to test your commitment towards paying back those monies. And so, yes, a visit is in order. It is also an opportunity for us to kind of pitch a certain position to them. And kind of getting them to soften up for us or try and take more from them. I have inherited a private firm that I consulted for, and they were largely in debt, sunk in debt. And we had to go and visit all the banks and, just smile with the managing directors of the bank and shake their hands and, kind of get that rapport because we knew what was coming. Then later on, we said, well, we should renegotiate, we should do this, we should do that. And within no time, we achieved a lot of results. We got it paid, and it is done with. Today, they are debt-free. So, yes, it is very important that those handshakes happened. And it is also very important that you know that those handshakes will happen, and therefore an opportunity for you to pitch a certain position to them. So I pray that and I'm very sure that we did not miss that opportunity to pitch some kind of strategy going forward to them. It's necessary.
Interesting point you made. You are saying that the IMF came here to remind us that you owe us. We are watching how you manage this in a way that ensures that you pay back our money. But you're saying it also presents an opportunity for those who are taking over to also sell or pitch whatever they want to do to the IMF and see if they can get something more of the IMF and the World Bank.
Exactly.
Quite an interesting way of looking at it. But there are many people who, when they see the IMF, then get concerned that they are going to force the government onto a trajectory that usually will not be in the interest of the average Ghanaian. Is that a concern that you have too?
Well, if that should happen, that your hands are forced, then you don't have quality on the table of negotiations. It's as simple as that.
Your hands should never be forced?
No. It is business at the end of the day, and everybody has an interest. As much as possible, you must protect and push your interests and make sure that it settles. So when you have the people who are quite knowledgeable about the issues we have, the figures are in front of them, they know the figures well, it is easy for them to actually not allow themselves to be bullied into submission or whatever, but also to actually give a counter offer something that they may or they will accept going forward. At this point, they are also prepared to listen. At this point, because they want to give you.
They are here not to only make a point, but also to listen.
To listen to you.
Okay.
And whatever you say, they will understand it in a certain way. Okay, he wants to play ball. This is soft. Then we need to push harder.
Okay.
We can get through with this and get through with this. Looking at their posture, we cannot. There are a lot of hypothetical situations we can raise through that. But the thing is, you going to the table must be prepared, and you must have a strategy on the table to push.
Interesting. You see this as a business meeting because, interestingly, the language that is always used, like the IMF is coming in to save us. But from the way you are talking, you don't see it that way.
No,
you see the IMF as a business entity.
They are businessmen and women.
So when we enter into an IMF program, we enter into a business agreement.
Yeah, it's a business agreement. They are not Father Christmas. They are doing business to earn income. How do they pay their staff? How will they get more to borrow you more and make more money? They are in business. It's a business transaction. It's a business meeting. So you go there prepared as a businessman. There is nothing about governance which makes it Father Christmas and this and that. Everything about governance is about business.
I see.
You must be a good businessman. Unfortunately, our governments have not been good businessmen. Yeah.
Our governments have not been good businessmen.
Yeah.
So they are dealing with businessmen with the orientation of what?
Oh, well.
That's interesting because if you say, because essentially you have to encounter IMF, World Bank. You're saying they are dealing with them.
The description I would want to use will not be palatable for radio.
I see.
Yeah. They go in as ordinary men. That is what I would say. Not as their business. If it is your business, if it is your baby, you created it. It's yours. When it falls on your head and all that. It's your embarrassment. It's whatever. Its failure is your embarrassment, whatever. Where we see this nation as well, it is an asset that has been handed to me, or inheritance that has been handed to me. Let me do what I can do, make what I can make, and move away for another person to come and inherit. Then you take the attitude of some of the people we had seen recently in power. Right? They really don't care. They are not minded. They go to the table as if they are going to do a favor for the rest of Ghanaians. They don't go to the table as if it is their business. They must find a way to make it work. They must salvage it. They must protect it. No. They go there as an opportunity to get to know those seated by the table. In future, they could do business with them personally. It's an opportunity to tomorrow get a link somewhere and all that. So they go there not sometimes I say, not for us, but they go there for themselves. And not as businessmen. They go there as like some petty traders.
I see. Well, and on the matter of the IMF, we are under an IMF program. I don't know if it was you, but I think I had a conversation recently when, and I don't recall exactly, it could be you, when a person said it was the first time we had an IMF program that yielded no results.
Yeah, I think it was true.
Yes. It has yielded no results. Can we salvage anything out of this IMF program?
Well, I believe that it
Except
is time.
for the money.
It is time that we shift focus.
Okay.
From the IMF. And when I say we do shift focus from the IMF, this is something we've done over and over again. And the outcomes have been the same.
Many IMF programs, same outcomes.
Same outcomes.
Still marking time.
Exactly. We will crash again in 6 years. We will follow the IMF program rigorously. We get there, it looks good, only for us to come back in 6 years and then crash again. So the point is, do we really have a solution, a real solution out of it and out of the IMF? That is the conversation we should be having. And how do we do that?
Okay.
And that is where we would have to kind of re-establish and rationalize what we call discipline in this country.
Re-establish, rationalize.
What we call physical discipline in this country.
Okay.
Because physical discipline goes beyond just managing budgets. You would have to look at the currency. You will have to look at each borrowing if it is within sustainable levels. You can't say that you have unsustainable debt. It's meant that all this while, your borrowing was unsustainable. It is the act of borrowing that creates debt. So if your debt keep coming up as unsustainable, highly risk, and all that, then it means that your borrowing has a problem. Your borrowing are unsustainable. Why do we borrow? For what? What will be the benefits of what we will use that money for? And how is it able to pay for itself?
Okay.
Whatever we are going to use the money for, would we generate USD out of that? Because the issues we have mostly have been our external debt. And therefore, the question to ask is, okay, we get proceeds from gold, we get proceeds from cocoa, and some other non-traditional exports. What is the percentage of growth in that? As against the percentage of growth in terms of your foreign debt. Because if you are not able to make more in terms of revenue or inflows in foreign currency, but you are borrowing more in terms of debt backed by foreign currency, then your borrowing already is unsustainable and you will always end in unsustainable debt.
So discipline on the side of what money you take and what you're taking the money for.
What you are taking the money for and what that money can generate for you.
Okay.
You see, let's say a businessman goes to borrow $100,000 to build a factory and buy goods and produce, right? The production is sold. Look at the time of getting the money in, building the factory and all that. With our volatile exchange, depreciation of the CD and all that. And then this, the businessman, did whatever he has to do, was efficient, and then he produced so much, and then he was selling it to me and you. We were buying it in CDs. And so we bought it in CD for 500,000. Now the businessman has to use the 500,000 to go pay the 100,000, which means that he has to exchange the 500,000 to this for USD. At the time of his borrowing, it is 1. The rate is 1. At the time
he's ready to pay back
of payback, the rate is 10. So he's able to only pay half of the 100,000 he borrowed.
And that even significantly takes away a lot of what he has made.
A lot of what you have made. So this borrowing is unsustainable, and this is what Ghana has always engaged in. This is how we have borrowed. If this businessman had to sell everything he was producing through exports and earned USD, and he was able to sell it at the same 100, at least he will go back and will have sufficient money to pay back. So that is a question we have not really asked ourselves.
Okay.
You know, Nkrumah was not reckless with borrowing. Everything he borrowed externally was either for the transport sector.
For a lot of production.
A lot of production. Yeah. So you would ask yourself, why were we in difficulties in around 64? You see, that language, we want to substitute imports.
Yeah.
Okay, you substitute imports. But with what money? With borrowed money? Wrong. You will get it wrong.
So essentially, when it comes to the matter of debt, there's a new government in power. What do you think they should do differently?
Well, it is a difficult situation. I would not say that there is a one-patch solution that is there the moment you implement it, it will work. No. They will need to touch a lot of areas and a lot of things. We will need to clean significantly waste from our system.
Okay.
There is a lot of waste in our system, and we need to clean it up. You know, I still don't understand that we can manage a lot of, one person can manage a lot of clients, full business, huge businesses, high turnover. And then you go elsewhere in the ministry, in one room you have about 6 people managing about 10 transactions a day. Don't tell me that is employment, that is job creating and all that. It is a waste. Complete waste. Okay. Someone's duty is just to write receipts, for Christ's sake. Someone is just to record PVs. I mean, what a joke. In the modern day, and in the age we are in. So yes, there is a lot of waste. As to whether we can be bold enough to clean the waste is also another issue.
You're a politician yourself.
I am a different type of politician.
Not necessarily.
Well, you see, we have to be different to bring about change.
Okay.
For me, that is my philosophy. If you would not free my hands to do the job well, the money probably may be sweet. And I do this in the private sector that I am in. I do get juicy clients, and they will say, no, we want you to do this, we want you to go this way. And I'll tell you, look, I want to sleep at night, so take your job and keep your money. I love to sleep and sleep well. I don't want troubles and this and that and that. So yes, I have let good money go just because I feel that you will not allow me to work in a manner, and you would also, that I would want to work, and you would also not want to probably do things rightly, and it will come back to hurt you one day, and I don't want to be the one looking at you being hurt and all that. So I will tell you, take your job. And that is what we should be able to do in public service.
A few things. Our time is running out very fast. So a few things, specifics. You already debates over. You were a huge critic of E-Levy. There's a debate about whether E-Levy should stay or go. What do you think?
Well, it should go.
It should go.
Yes.
Okay.
E-Levy should go because it's inflationary. Part of our inflation was created by E-Levy.
Okay.
If I want to buy the mouse in front of you, which is 100 cedis, for instance, if I decided to go into my wallet and pay you 100 cedis, I'll pay you 100 cedis, or I will bring you a fiat money with the face value of 100 cedis. And you would accept it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's yeah.
If I choose to pay through Momo, the face value of 100 cedis will no longer be 100 cedis.
Go up significantly.
But what value? Do you get more value than the same mouse that you are using?
I see.
Yeah. So I keep saying that Bank of Ghana, you ask people not to change money to lower denominations and take bit of it as service. But you want people to pay. And you take even taxes on it. Changing the face value of a product, that either to, if I'm paying cash or check, I'll pay the same amount and receive the same value or benefit or gratification I'm supposed to get from buying that. Why should I pay 110 instead of 100 for the same gratification, the same, just because of the mode in which I chose to pay? I am not for E-Levy. I am not even for the Momo charges they take.
Okay. The charges for Momo.
Yes. And don't tell me you will not make money. Those behind that business are making a lot of money. The money don't sit in their offices. It sits in banks. And the float alone, they are making so much money.
So even without charging?
Yes, they are making money. They are earning huge interests on it. You have float in billions sitting down there. You think it's free? It is my money. I put it with you. You've become a quasi-bank. Okay, if you want to operate as a bank, operate as a bank. And provide me a service for a whole month and charge me a service fee. So that I know that Momo Type 1 charges me 10 cedis a month. Whatever transaction I conduct on that platform. Okay. But don't change the value, the face value of what I buy or sell. That is inflation. That is not acceptable. That is taking the power of that money, the strength, the energy in that money. You are taking it away.
So E-Levy must certainly go.
Yes, and I'm saying even go ahead and abolish the charges on E-Levy because you are making enough money.
Okay.
You are making enough money because that money sits in the bank and you earn interest on it. You want to charge me for the services you are providing. Charge me a service fee, just like the banks will do. Just imagine that I take a check of 40,000 to the bank. And then the bank says, okay, because you want to pay somebody this much,
I'll charge you this.
Then I'll take this much out of it. Now my money is no longer the same value. Another person takes what I have sent and also transact business with it and has to pay. The value of the money changes again, and again. So what is supposed to remain as 40,000, right, become, let's say, 30 8,000 because of these charges and all that. The currency in there, the energy in there, is gone. It's not the same. So when you do things to destroy your own currency, you don't come back and say that I want a strong cedi.
I see. That's quite an interesting analysis. So for you, and I know your feelings about E-Levy, it dates back to even before it was introduced. So I just wanted to be sure.
It failed, Poto.
Yeah, you said so, and it did. There's one other tax, COVID tax.
Yeah,
COVID levy.
You know, it should go. It should go off.
Okay.
No, we do tax in this country, but we don't really do tax psychology.
Okay.
Look, anytime somebody picks it up, go to the restaurant and pick it up. You really don't mind, you really don't care about the get fund.
Okay.
You really don't care about the
national
health insurance and all that. The moment you see the COVID, you are like, why should I pay this? And you see, when it comes to indirect tax, people evade it, and the corporates are not the man standing behind the business. It's the man standing in front of the business, the customer.
Okay.
Says, Charlie, if that knows where, and what radio said also. Now, the moment the man standing behind the business accepts to do that, he must also not include that sale in his income.
Okay.
Right? And then he must find a way to put in the costs, to include the costs, but not include the income.
Okay.
So what that will do is to diminish what government will take as direct tax. And that is where the GRA will have to spend more money, again, for purposes of compliance.
Placing people in front of the stores to check.
Exactly.
Which is
audits, conducting audits and all that. And look,
you don't get as they end up not getting as much as they spent on that whole operation.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. If we have to be honest, this is what is going on. So for me, another issue in there is not just about the COVID going off. It's about removing the levies.
The street levies?
No.
Which levy?
The GET fund is a levy now, which is a cost to the businessman.
Okay.
He doesn't get to recover it.
Okay.
We must make it all recoverable. You know, we must find a way doing all this to stimulate business. And that is one way to stimulate businesses and reduce prices. Making it a cost. Just imagine that one product goes through 3 hands. That I am the wholesaler. 6% has been added to my costs. Right? I put my margin on it, VAT it, bring it to you. You will also add another 6% to your costs. VAT it again, take it to the next person. By the time it reaches the main consumer, you would have taken 6%, you would have built up 6%, another 6%, another 18%. So when you shout inflation, our indirect tax was set up to actually aid in the inflation we all suffered over the few years. It was restructured to be a cost rather than, or a levy rather than an indirect tax, recoverable.
So go back to how it was.
Go back to
the
how
original
it
structure.
was, the original structure.
And in that betting tax, you are, in fact, I think one of the things that I notice about you, you have such strong connections with young people. A lot of young people. I guess you meet a lot of them who are basically surviving on whether Manchester United will win or Chelsea will win. What do you think about that whole idea of putting a tax on betting?
Well, we can't do away with betting. It will not discourage them from betting.
Okay.
Right. If you ask to bring 50 Ghana cedis and take home 1,000 cedis, say now you will do it. That is betting.
Yes.
Now, you see, this betting thing, there are a lot of intricacies in there that we are not aware of. When it started, in fact, the act seek to VAT the stakes.
Okay.
So what you stake as 50 cedis does not go to the man behind the betting business as 50 cedis, because he would have to discount VAT out of it.
Oh, okay.
Right? And then on top of that, when you win, your stake will also suffer VAT.
Okay.
So what is paid to you, they would have to return on it. And you are an individual, so government cannot make you an agent to return his VAT.
Okay.
So he will make the businessman who has a registered address and everything as the one as the agent to return his VAT, his taxes to government.
Okay.
So, one, it was the VAT in there.
Okay.
Now, when we say betting tax, are we talking about the VAT in there, or the direct tax on the win?
Okay. I think that's the direct tax on the win.
That is the direct tax on the win.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it is two things we are looking at. Now, the issue is, what it simply means is that government, in a way, is going to make money through taxes with government, or is already making some money through the VAT aspect.
Okay.
So concentrate on that. And let's go of the direct tax on the win, aside the VAT that has been taken as well.
Okay.
So for me, it is two things. When you say betting tax, the betting stakes and everything suffers VAT. So there is tax already in there. The direct percentage taken on the win is also a separate thing.
Okay.
Right. So yes, the issue is, before you take a tax off, you must find out what was the purpose. If the purpose was to discourage, our boys are still in there.
No, they are wild, pa.
Yes. When the matches are going on, you see them there.
Yes.
On election day, they were there, and when I passed by, they said, "No more for more." And they were still stuck in there.
Yeah.
So the taxes will not discourage them, because anyway, what if they win, whatever they have put in, and compared to what they will receive, makes sense for them to go in there and bet more. What we can do, if it is about how do you say it? If it's about discouraging them, what we can do is to make our stock exchange an active place to trade. And I'm sure when these guys are, directed, that energy and resources is directed towards those side, a lot of them will prefer doing that, which is more stable. Yes, you would get a reward better than what you put in and all that. So yes, you must offer them something. Just don't say that I'm taxing you too. That will not solve it. And so that makes the tax useless.
That system is also hard.
Exactly.
But then there's, I think there's another tax which has come under discussion. I'm not sure whether there was a promise to remove it. But I think there's an emissions tax. Correct me if I'm wrong. There are those who say that if you look at the way our tax, the taxes, there seems to be two taxes that are dealing with, is the environmental issues or something.
Yeah. You see, clearly, we must rationalize all our taxes. We can't go this way. Anytime we hit the flange, then we say, oh, let's introduce tax A. Let's introduce tax B. Most of our taxes were introduced out of, knee-jerk reactions that somebody just hit us with something and then we react by introducing taxes. And that culture we should be able to change. What I feel we should be looking at, and I think I got a bit of it from Honorable Atufo since that yes, we should. Our revenue is not about introducing new taxes or taking away some taxes. Really, they don't change much. It is about understanding how people react to taxes and making sure that we kind of toe a line that at the end of the day we would make more than we are doing. High tax rates encourages avoidance of tax. Lower tax rates just it's like a pitfall. People just walk and thinking they can jump over it, and before you realize they've fallen. People really don't think of avoiding it or don't plan to avoid it. You go to certain countries and let's say VAT is 3%. You don't even look at it because you are suffering a higher tax somewhere. So the psychology of it must be allowed to play. And then we must improve on our systems. You see, our systems are created with fraud in mind.
Systems, in terms of the collection? Or
everywhere, assessment, whatever. Yes.
Like that, what brought in the SML?
Yes, when you go to the ports. How we talked about it.
We expect somebody to steal the...
yes, we expect somebody to steal, so we must create something for someone to be able to steal or make money illegally. Yes. And so, look, if I bring my stuff into the ports and I'm clearing them and I pay 100 cedis and you are also paying 100 cedis, right? I think we will all come to the market and sell at the same price. Just imagine somebody brings in tiles, the same design, the same manufacturer, the same origin. And one person says that mine is $1 per square meter. And then the other one says that mine is $4. And you would allow the $1 to go through. And even come and say that you, the $4, I want to raise it to $5 for you. Don't say her.
Very interesting. We have to wrap this up. But Chamis, it will take over soon with a mid-morning show. But I want just briefly, Bank of Ghana.
Yeah.
Should the governor and the deputies be maintained?
Oh, Sena, you pa. They should just not be sacked. They should be investigated.
The BOG governor?
Oh, yes.
Should be sacked and investigated?
Yes.
For what?
A lot of things.
Which one comes to
mind? For me, they have sinned against the very acts they were supposed to protect. That is first and foremost. For me, they have misrepresented figures to us. I wrote a letter to them in 2018, asking them to justify why Ministry of Finance will show us a different figure, and on their portal, they will also show us a different figure. Now, so how are you able to take decisions that affects my business and your business? Because I take decisions based on what I see in there. And one of you must be accurate and the other inaccurate. You can't have the same line and Ministry of Finance is reporting from BOG because the figures were not generated by the Ministry of Finance. So if the Ministry of Finance says that this is 568 million and you, BOG, says yours is 838 million, then what are you telling me? Did you take steps to inform us as Ghanaians that the figures as shown by the Ministry of Finance are not accurate? Not even a response. But we can understand it. That is how they manage the affairs of BOG all this while. And so they must go with all the force. Quickly.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure hosting you. Nii Yarboi Annan of Ododo. It's a financial analyst.
You like that part.
Join us in studio. And I remember there was something famously Bukumba who said that
there is no super.
Yeah, nobody's.
It is true.
Coming up next is the king of mid-morning on Chami Bajimba with the mid-morning show on a Wednesday morning. And of course, those of us from the Gold Morning Conversation want to say a big thank you to. We are back tomorrow with another edition of the show. Do make time to join us.
By a radio invasion. Listeners, take it.